Hello, welcome to Global Business. I am Imewale Ukyemokai. It's been a lot of things happening in the last few weeks. Hurricanes all over, even in Nigeria. Hurricane, our own kind of hurricane. But it started with Hurricane Harvey in Texas, and then there was Hurricane Irma. Hurricane Irma is currently in Florida. And the one that is is threatening now. It's already going towards category 3 and 4 is Hurricane Yosei in Orlando. That's in the United States of America. And of course, you know, it's affecting a lot of businesses in these places. But in Nigeria, we had our own kinds of hurricanes. It started in Lagos. Remember when you had those pictures around Lagos talking about floods taking over streets in Lagos? You saw people in canoes actually paddling in Lagos. Then it went to Benue. Yes, in Benue State, there were so many homes ravaged by floods. In fact, our last count said that about 22 or 23 local governments have been overtaken by floods. Well, what are Nigerians doing about this? Because whether you like it or not, all these affect the business in Nigeria. In fact, remember that Benue is the food basket of the nation. Well, some people have brought upon themselves to say, okay, let's do something about Benue, especially, at least starting with Benue. And that's the Miss Health Beauty Pageant organization. We've got some beauties right here with me who will be talking about what they're going to do to bring people back to life, and from life to their livelihoods in Benue. That's what we have for you on Global Business. There's that and more, because we are talking about how Nigeria left recession. What is the way forward? What should we do after now? More on that on Global Business after this break. Like I told you before, we'll be talking with some beauties. I've got some beauties right here, and in fact, they're making this whole place more beautiful than it usually would have been. In fact, 3 ladies with me. I've got on my immediate right, we've got Angel Adelami. Angel Adelami is the founder of the Elizabeth Foundation. Of course, next to her is the head queen. I call her the head queen. She is all red. That's the lady in red. And I'm talking about Queen Audu. Queen Audu is actually Queen and Wendy Audu. Wendy Audu is our queen there. She's the Miss Health Nigeria. They call her the head queen. Next to her is somebody called her the doctor with a swag. She's the queen, the Miss Health Africa 2017. I'm talking about Queen Esther Itoye. Queen Esther Itoye. I hope I got all those names right. Well, these people, beyond their beauty, they've got brains behind them, and they're using those brains to do something good for humanity and to bring people from life to livelihoods, especially where it concerns Benue and the Benue flames. So we'll be talking about them. First, let's start with Wendy. Wendy, when did you guys become queens in 2017?
Okay, we became queens 27th of August. That's last month.
27th of August last month. Okay, now for you, Esther, one would imagine that a medical doctor will never think about being a queen. What inspired you to go for a pageant as a medical doctor?
Okay, thank you. First of all, before going into, actually this is my first pageant.
Okay.
So before I thought of going into a pageantry world, I thought of the pageant that can actually help me inspire, help me help other people, like help me give out the knowledge I have. So then I came across Miss Health Beauty Pageant, going with the fact that I'm a medical doctor. So I felt that I can actually help people. I can help people from Miss Health Beauty Pageant. So I think that's what inspired me to become a queen of the Miss Health Beauty Pageant.
And you're actually the second runner-up, even
no,
though
the first
runner-up. Okay,
yeah.
the first runner-up, even though you are now Miss Health Africa. Wendy is an international relations student at Osun State, one of these universities in Osun State. Wendy, you are from Benue State. I'm sure you've heard of the disaster in Benue State. Tell us about what some of the things you've heard.
Okay. There's a story trending now about a 100-year-old man who is displaced, who lost all his properties, who lost everything he had. He had a farm, and right now he's just helpless. He has grandchildren. His children are dead, at least, so he's left alone with his grandchildren and he's helpless. That story really touched me because he's very old and nobody to help him. Like his whole family members are least just him and his children. So I'm really touched and all that. I really want to help. It's touched me. That's what really made me look into the whole stuff. And I've always wanted to help people. I love helping people, but I needed a platform to help me do that. That's why I came to Miss Health to bring me out.
Okay, I wouldn't be surprised that you like to help people. You are an international relations person, and I'm sure you want to ease the tension across the world.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tension across the world. It comes from poverty, it comes from economic recessions like that Nigeria has just come up with. And international relations students, I'm sure, they are more diplomatic. They try to put in diplomacy to make things easier. But Angel is the founder of the Elizabeth Foundation. Elizabeth Foundation, is it partnering with the Miss Health just for this project or for the whole of Miss Health? What's the Elizabeth Foundation all about, basically?
We're a set of humanitarian people that love to alleviate the stressful lifestyle of Nigerians or people suffering everywhere in the world. We're partnering with Miss Health throughout the project. I happen to know the founder of this Miss Health pageant, and I know he's a humanitarian as well, and that's why I'm partnering with him. And not just on this project, we intend that after this Benue flood, we'll make our way to Kogi flood as well.
Okay, exactly, because I know that there is flooding also in Kogi State.
Yes.
So now, Esther, what exactly are you guys going to do to help those in Benue State?
First and foremost, Miss Health Beauty Pageant is about creating awareness and also helping the sick. So basically, Benue State, we are going there for health care. We're going to give them better health. We're going to treat them from malaria, we're going to treat them from cholera and other diseases. There are pregnant women there who haven't been treated, no tests, nothing. So basically, we're going to Benue State first of all to treat them. Then with the help of Elizabeth Foundation, we're going to give out relief materials like mosquito nets, food and clothing. And that should be able to go a long way to help them, because basically food, clothing and health is wealth. So those three things are really basic, and basically that's what the Benue people need right now. They need to be in good health, they need clothing and they need food too.
Do you have doctors going with you, and do you have enough help that you need for this outreach that you're going to?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We have volunteer doctors on ground, enough doctors. I mean, this morning we had some doctors coming to volunteer, so we have enough doctors that can take us to Benue, do tests, run tests, treat people. We have medications, but we are also looking for more medications, looking for donations, no matter how little it is. Even if we still have the little, we need more, because nothing is too much. We don't know how many people we are going to treat over there. So we need, if possible, more than the people. It's not going to be a really bad thing. So basically, we have enough doctors and we have drugs on ground for us to move to Benue State, but we still need more. Nigerians, we need more. We need more drugs, we need more volunteers, we need more food, we need more relief items. Nothing is too much, nothing is too small. Your 5 naira can help, your 10 naira can help. Please donate to the Benue Relief Program. Thank you.
Wendy, now, as someone from Benue State who is also leading this initiative, do you feel fulfilled that you are doing something good enough for your people?
Yes, I feel very fulfilled because, as I said earlier, I love helping people, and I needed a platform to help me out. And Miss Health Beauty Pageant is all about touching life and creating awareness. So I'm going to use it to touch life for people, and I think with what we are doing and what we've been able to, what we've been able to gather from the Elizabeth Foundation, will go a long way and to really help them with what they need and provide people. And my vision as Miss Health Nigeria 2017 is to bridge the healthcare between the poor and the rich. That's like you don't have to. Most times when you're sick, like as a rich, they take you to places, they treat you better than the poor. But I really want to bridge it together. I really want the poor to be able to get what the rich is getting. That's what healthcare.
Thank you. Elizabeth Foundation founder Angel, do you see how much impact do you think your work, I mean both the Elizabeth Foundation and the Miss Health pageant, how much impact do you think it will make on the Benue people?
I can't really tell how much impact, but I'm sure that every little helps. We're going to touch as many people as we can if we can afford to touch them.
Okay,
and we're going to put down a lot of food, clothing, and malaria treated nets.
Okay, for food, clothing, malaria treated nets, and of course drugs. She was talking about the drugs,
Yes.
the medication,
Yes, medication.
drugs and all that. Thank you very much for talking with us on global business. I mean, young, beautiful ladies like you having the heart of not gold this time, but diamond. Thank you. So we've been talking with the beauties of the Miss Health Beauty Pageant. You have the Miss Health Africa, who is Esther Itwonye, and of course the Miss Health Nigeria, who is Wendy Audu, and of course the Elizabeth Foundation founder Angel Adelami. Looking at how to touch lives in Benue, and I'm sure this initiative will inspire many to go and do just likewise. Global business. We are here to talk recession. Nigeria's GDP grew about 0.55%, and the National Bureau of Statistics came up with the good news, cherry news, that Nigeria is finally out of recession. In fact, the next day, South Africa went out of recession. Now, recession, some people are not very convinced that Nigeria is out of recession because they say they are not feeling it. But it was the figures of the National Bureau of Statistics that told us we were in recession. And they have come out to say we're not longer in recession. We'll be talking to two economists now who will be looking at really recession and what is the way forward now that we are out. After the recession, what is the way forward? And how do we avoid not getting into recession again? Because the fact that you are out does not mean you cannot get in again and even get into depression. After the break. We're with two renowned economists, Professor Ken Ife, who is, of course, a regular on TV, and, of course, Professor Jonathan Aremu, both regulars on TV, and we're looking at recession, the way forward, or what should Nigeria do to avoid another recurrence of the recession. And so, Professor Ken, welcome to Global Business Talking Point. Now, let's
thank you very much.
Let's look at this issue of whether we are out of recession and people are not feeling it. Could you address that issue, basically?
Now, recession is defined and well accepted as 2 consecutive quarters of drop in growth. But America qualified that by saying, yes, in addition to that, there needs to be a general decrease in macroeconomic indicators. So you can turn it on its head to say, yes, we now have had 2-quarter growth, albeit as small as it is, but technically we're out of recession. But when you look at the macroeconomic indicators, you have mixed messages. You have unemployment still down, you have high borrowing, you have inflation marginally trending down for so many reasons. We can come to that. Then you have the forex regime and the balance of payment, strong, and then also you have the foreign reserves, it's shaky. So there are things, plus and minus on those fronts. So it's very fragile. The way you describe that is a fragile recovery.
Okay,
you don't want to go into relapse. Any little thing can take you into relapse. Of course, oil, recovery in oil price and oil volume is right at the heart of it. Of course, also that money was pumped back by central bank to various sectors, especially the manufacturing sector.
Hold that thought, because in terms that is actually the thrust of our discussions today. Professor Aremu, now let's look at the issue of, he just mentioned the fact that anything could relapse. I bet many people actually feel we weren't in recession, we were actually in a depression. And we have actually just moved from a depression to a recession. What's your thought on that?
Well, we don't have to calculate for National Bureau of Statistics. That is the only agency in charge of statistics. They are the only agency that can define whether we are in recession or depression. If they call it recession, let us accept it's recession. Any other statistic anybody is quoting is not genuine. It's not proper. Now, so to me, we are coming out of recession. But
okay, we are not totally out for you.
Nigeria is exiting recession, which is okay. We are coming out of it. If you come out of a house, you're already outside.
Okay.
So that's it. So we are out of recession. But your question initially, which you asked my friend, is that to make sure we don't go back to it. You see, and secondly, that it's not being felt by people. You see, it takes time for some of these things to actually take place. Even when they mention that we are in recession, some of the things we are seeing now, they were not as bad.
Okay.
And they already say we are in recession. So it takes time for the impact to be felt. And seriously speaking, I believe strongly that MBS is correct, that we are out of recession. Economy has been able to see itself adjusting now. Now the question is whether how to be able to do it so that we don't go back into another one.
Yes.
I hope not.
Okay.
And I think that the question is what took us to that place. As long as we can block those loopholes that allow the growth of the economy to nosedive, then I think we are on the way.
Now,
let me
Professor,
address the question again.
Okay.
You see, the depression is defined as 10% drop in the GDP.
Okay.
Now, we didn't get as much as 10% drop. But if you look at the industries that make up the GDP, agriculture, industry, and services, the industry actually went more than 10%.
That's the manufacturing.
The manufacturing is a subsector of industry.
Okay.
Industry went from plus 7.9% in the last quarter of 2014 and went all the way down to even minus a few quarters ago. It was minus 7 point. So that was the one that melted down completely. Okay. And that was the one that is discouraging foreign direct investors from coming in. Because even though there were flexibilities in the forex regime, they were still watching the market condition. When are you going to get this industry back? If they have allowed to melt so deeply, when are you going to recover? And then what do you know about inflation? There's so many questions that they are watching the macroeconomic, the conditions on the ground. That's why they were not coming in that strongly. And then back to your question about two things. People are asking, how does the government prevent a relapse? And two, how does the benefit of the coming out of recession translate to more food on the table, lower prices of food, and then also more employment and more poverty reduction?
Yes, I would like you to answer that second question first, because I have a first question before, after that, your question, or after you answer that question.
Okay. The thing is this. The growth that we have experienced is 0.55.
Yes.
It is far lower than the natural growth that we require to even dent the figures. Why? 0.55 is far less than the population growth. The population growth is 2.45%. Now, urbanization rate is more important, and that is 4.5 to 4.85%. So we need to have a growth of 5% minimum before you can feel anything. Now, turn to agriculture. Agriculture was posting 3.01% growth. Good as it is, but it's not good enough, because you need agriculture to be well ahead of urbanization growth, because we have to feed the population that are moving. Now, secondly, in the Northeast, a good number of the people in the Northeast are not producing, but they have to be fed wherever they are, whether they're in Abuja or in the IDP camp, wherever they are, they have to be fed, and yet they're not producing. Then thirdly, you notice because our currency has devalued effectively, Nigeria is surrounded by 5 francophone countries, and they're all on the same currency, CFA. 1 naira could buy 3 CFA before all this. Now you can only buy 1.54 CFA. So it's like 50% devaluation. So our crops, our grains, everything here is very cheap to them. So they're importing like mad our products. One governor complained that 50 trailers are leaving his state every day. He's correct. It's true. So what is there? You still now have artificial scarcity because our goods are cheap. But this tragedy is that it is the raw material that they're taking, not semi-processed, not processed goods. If we had done these two, we'll keep the jobs, and they can carry the commodity. We want them to carry the commodities.
That's where industry comes in.
I'm talking about the industry. Yeah, the industry is not there. Okay. And they haven't got them across the whole world. Simple processing, because what we are transporting, and transport is one of the highest costs, we are transporting water. If you look at yam, potato, all that, 70% is water. It's just water that you are carrying around, and that's why the food is very perishable. And bear in mind that FAO recognizes Nigeria as one of 5 countries in the world that produces more food than they require. In absolute fact, nearly twice more food than we require. But 30 to 70% never make it into the food chain because there are post-harvest losses. Yeah. So you need to get those rudimental technology for drying and whatever out into the world's local governments so that the food gets value addition as semi-processed before they go out wherever they're going to go, or even before they're transported.
Professor Aremu, do you think a drop again, probably to $40 in the price of oil, may lead us going into recession again, considering the fact that we have still not totally diversified the economy, and of course it will still take a while. We're still dependent on oil revenue.
Well, that is a serious prophecy, which I believe that will not happen. Why did I say that? We still depend so much on oil. Let us just agree that fact. And therefore, we just believe and pray that that doesn't happen.
No, but praying does not affect the market forces.
I'm coming. That is it. That is it. What I'm saying is that if oil goes down and then there is a glut in the market again, obviously it's going to affect the growth rate of Nigeria. When you look at the statistics for MBS, the contribution of oil is still very great into it. And therefore we believe that will not happen. Secondly, oil generates substantial foreign exchange to drive the other sector of the economy. Whether you are talking of agriculture, you are talking of industry, you are talking of other areas. Even in the mining and quarrying, they need certain machinery. When the prices go up in terms of foreign exchange, they will not be able to bring this machinery to be able to engage in productive capacity. And therefore, that is why my hope is that the price of oil does not drop too much. If it does, and other sectors have not just on their growth paths to the desired level, then it may be a serious thing again.
that is where we wrap it up on Global Business in this first edition. That interview continues next week. You don't want to miss the concluding part of that interview, because you'll be hearing things about the fact that Nigeria needs a political and an economic restructuring. You may want to listen to that next week. I'm Imewario Hyomokai. Remember, doing business with you is good business. Let's do it again next week.